Good morning, good evening, good day. My name is Jonathan Regan, also known as New Questions from blockchaineducation.com.au. Bitcoin, gone through the roof. Imagine that. We found ourselves in a very tight, narrow range where the ADX were underneath the threshold. We were running sideways for weeks and weeks. Great for altcoin trading. And then we saw an explosive move by Bitcoin. Have a look here. You can see actually on this chart here, we have this nice sideways movement. Now this is in and around the 7,500 level. Pretty much DI negative the whole time. Not much going on. And then this explosive move here. Interesting entry by our algorithm just as it broke the 200 moving average. That's the blue one here. So interesting access. My own algorithm went 76.80. I think the company was about $40 below that. So around about the 7,600 mark, you can see here, that's when the algorithm picked up the move. And where did it go then? Look, that's absolutely nuts. I don't think I've ever seen such a large move in one day. Let's go forecast. Come out of this area. We're looking around about 34% in 9 hours. I got to say, 34% in 9 hours, 40% max for the day. That's the largest single percentage-wise move in Bitcoin in around about, I think it's 8 or 9 years, back in 2011. Now, important to note, back then there was much less liquidity. A move from like $1.50 to $3 wasn't all that fancy back then. It didn't really mean much. We had $150 billion plus of global cryptocurrency trading in a single 24-hour period for Bitcoin. Now, very exciting time for those of you who were sitting in Bitcoin and went basically 20 to 30% in just a couple of days. We now see that we've had something of a 50% retrace, and we'll come back into that 50 moving average, and wouldn't you know it, the 50 moving average, a place where you want to be thinking about accumulating. And then we've gone up, we've come back up into this sort of close to $10,000 region, and we can actually see that the ADX is starting to maybe roll over. DI is starting to decline. This basically just means that this uptrend is coming to an end now. We may end up finding a new base level support around about 9,500, 10,000. So what we saw back down here at the sort of 7 to 8,000 where we kind of got stuck and went sideways, we might find the same thing happen here at the 10,000 level where we might just kind of navigate this $10,000 psychological zone. What does that mean for altcoins? Well, for some of you, you got stuck in altcoins that did quite poorly, and for that, I would just say just have a little bit of patience. Bitcoin is not going to go up forever. In fact, we've already started to see possibility of a lower high here. It may go sideways, which means it gives time for the altcoins to recover. Now, for those altcoins that have done extremely well, I would imagine a 200 moving average retrace, maybe even a 61.8% Fibonacci retrace. We're going to have a look at some of those in a second. I just wanted to highlight this idea that as Bitcoin exploded over that 200 moving average, that was an ideal opportunity to get in. What a fantastic entry price, in and around the 7,800, going as high as 10,400, I believe, 10,366. A massive move by Bitcoin. Well done, Bitcoin Satoshi. Be quite proud. Right, let's go back into the larger chart here. And we're going to have a look at some of these cool. Let's squash that like that. Go like that. Oh, sorry guys, having technical issues. Right, squash you over there and bring up some of my notes. Right, let's have a look at some exciting stuff. One of the coins that we've discussed several times is BAT. BAT, Basic Attention Token. I'm going to talk about BAT today because we've seen that recently we've had this decline in price, but I just want to point out something interesting here. Let's pull this out, go out to the 4 hour, and let's have a look at the 4 hour chart. Now, we did multiple entries on BAT over the last couple of months. And you can see this entry down here when we came off this 200 moving average. It went as high as 91% in the last month, which is fantastic. Multiple entries in and out, really nice cyclic nature. This is part of our methodology. This is very much to be expected. You can see we're now down here. Do I expect this sort of movement? Yes, in fact I do. And I just wanted to point out BAT has actually held and used this 200 as a level. And look where we find ourselves now. Right on this 200. This is the 200 moving average. So this is my kind of hint of the day. Keep your eye on BAT. When we see the ADX decline in power, as we're seeing here, that means that the trend is starting to weaken. Now, if we see that the trend has gone from this strength and it's weakening down to this strength, what does that really mean? Well, what it means is that this downtrend is starting to weaken. So what would I imagine is going to happen here? I'd be very surprised if we don't see another gorgeous bounce and get back into that channel. Now, speaking of channels, let's throw up a just a sort of a yeah, that's about right. So in this particular channel that I'm drawing, we've got a tap here, almost a tap here, and maybe one here. Now, if I clone this, and if I've got my parallel lines correct, yeah, we're going to see lots of taps here as well. So we've got a couple of taps, another tap, hitting the roof of this uptrend channel. Now, what's interesting is this location right here, where the price went from here all the way up to here. Now, if I go and I actually check out the sort of the date and the price range, we might get this sort of move. So the market supported pretty much a 16% move. Now, possibly off this area up to the top of the candles, we're looking at an 11% move. So what that actually means is that the market supported an overbought scenario where the price went 10% above an already existing long-term, month-long uptrend. So what I'm saying here is that this uptrend, which had a nice cyclic pattern, beautiful uptrend, it should have come to this point and turned down. Instead, it went 10% higher, 10% outside the roof of the uptrend channel. So is it any wonder that I can kind of feel confident that if we do go down, let's go down, say, as much as 10% here on the other side, the floor of the uptrend channel, is that somewhere where I think that the market could spring back from? Well, yes, I think so. I guess what I'm trying to say is if we've had this nice long, month-long cyclic uptrend channel and the market is prepared to go 10% above it, I have a feeling that it's prepared to go 10% below it and essentially support this 200 moving average, which we already know in the past has actually been a place of support as well. So look for this type of move where we lose a lot of strength and that eventually these start to become more and more positive, and then we start to see this sort of DI positive nature, and this black line here, the ADX starts going up. Now what we'll actually see is probably a move that starts looking like that, and then we'll see a lot of this sort of stuff. We'll start seeing the, you know, the green average bands moving up, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get straight back into that channel, back into this sort of area before we start hitting resistance around about 2,900, 3,000. So just something there I wanted to point out, that oftentimes when you have a cyclic, long-moving, uptrending coin that essentially respects the roof and the floor of its existing uptrend channel, if you get an overbought situation, don't be surprised if you get an oversold situation in scenarios where, for example, Bitcoin pumps. And we know that we have a record-breaking Bitcoin pump in action, and so that's obviously going to affect a lot of altcoins, even those in long-term uptrends, just like we're seeing here. But don't be surprised if we see a lot of these altcoins bounce back off that 200 moving average and bounce back into existing uptrending channels. Now, that's just something to consider. Let's go and have a look at some faster moving coins. While Bitcoin was doing some extraordinary moves, NEO was also doing some pretty fancy pants stuff. Had some news out of China suggesting that the Chinese government were going to relax and encourage developers to get into cryptography and blockchain solutions. That doesn't necessarily mean that blockchain is specifically relating to crypto. It doesn't really mean that they're going to relax the laws relating to cryptocurrency, but it is a positive move. The president of China kind of coming out and saying in the media that they've just passed a law suggesting that they're going to open up and become a little bit more flexible relating to cryptography and blockchain. So was that picked up by the NEO traders? Was that the reason why they were so excited? At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Our algorithms don't consider fundamental news all that important. What we do like to see is this sort of rapid move over a 200 moving average. Beautiful entry here by the algorithm, running as high as 40% in one day. Lots of guys in the chat making money on NEO. Good on you guys. If you're still in it, you know, even better, because as I can see here, as we're talking, NEO is intent on making a new higher high. This is not very far away from this high here, so I wouldn't be surprised if we make a higher high. Slight decline in the trend speed here, but then having said that, we have increasing DI positive candles. So where are we going to? Well, I don't know. Let's run a Fibonacci trace on this and kind of make some sort of forecast. If this is our turning point, yeah, that seems a little bit accurate to me. Let's have a look. So we've got a tap here. I'm going to change that to red. We've got a tap, a couple more, one here, a couple here, certainly some here, some nice here. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up going here. So what is that, 1400, 1500? So NEO seems to be on its way to 14 or 1500. As long as this green Madrid average bands continue, as long as we stay ADX positive here, I see NEO moving as high as 1500 before it hits any sort of resistance. So something to think about there. NEO, very, very interesting coin. Lots of development in China before Chinese government essentially came along and sort of banned cryptocurrency buying and selling through the banking system. One of the other recent ones that the guys have been making money on is CAVA or CAVA. I imagine it's called CAVA, newly listed Binance coin. You can see a sustained insane downtrend coming out of this. I'm going to go into the 5-minute candle because that way we can get our 200 moving average, and you can see that when the price started coming, it broke below the 200 here, it broke below the 50 here. This was basically a time to get out. This was your last minute exit point. I'm going to put a box here which kind of represents a danger area. Now, some people will imagine that this is a place of support which led to a massive pump, but essentially when we broke through that support, this was the time to get out. We attempted to get back up into it. The combination of the 50 moving average, the 200 moving average, and the previous place of support and resistance, that essentially just became too much of a resistance zone, and ultimately this orange box here, this is where you wanted to get out. You had a couple of opportunities. You had an opportunity to get out here, you had an opportunity to get out here. As soon as we slipped below this 200 moving average, it was game over, and you can see the price just continued to go down. We had a couple of valiant attempts to get above the 200 moving average down here. Both of them were rejected soundly. We had a third attempt to get above the 200 moving average, rejected again. Do I think CAVA is a good investment? Not really. Our guys made a plenty of money here. I remember we had multiple signals coming in and out of the chat. A lot of the guys got out up here, which is great as it broke below the 50 moving average. CAVA going huge numbers. We'll look at those in a second. GSX, another manual call here. GSX also doing insane numbers. You can see the double twin entry here, blitz entry, beautiful algorithm entry. Look at that. It's just absolutely stunning. Running out of this 200 moving average, running as high as 50% in 8 hours, continuing to do some really interesting things here. A series of higher lows. Here's a low, here's a low, another one, another one, another one, another one, another one, another one, another one. Are we going to get another higher low up here? Also a series of higher highs here. Here is the next one going to be at 7,500, a psychological level, 7,500. A lot of traders love up here. Are we going to get this sort of move? I wouldn't be surprised. Beautiful move by GSX over the last couple of days. Perfectly called by the analysts, also called by some of our senior members as part of the manual calls. Just a fantastic move. Almost as fancy as ONT. Ontology, something that we've called many, many times in blockchain education over the last couple of years, ever since it was launched. And we can see right now that Ontology is right in the middle of setting a new higher high. We've got 44 seconds left on this 15-minute candle, setting a new higher high. Even more money for those people who are patient with Ontology. Double twin blitz entries here. I'm going to go as high as 69% in 22 hours. Right now we're looking at around about 60%. Let me just do a bit of an ad. If you're a member, well done. Congratulations on having the foresight to join the best premium signals and training group online. If you're not a member and you're enjoying these videos, and if you're making any sort of money, or if you're not, then make sure you pick up our coupon code right now, blockchaineducation.com.au, coupon load below. If not, like, share, comment. I'd really appreciate your feedback. Right now, we're just manually updating and sort of vetting some of these comments because we've got other signals groups coming in and advertising inside our comment section. So that's why you don't see that many comments for each individual video. I know a lot of guys are watching. I'm really excited about this coin ONT. As you can see, we've had some explosive moves recently, and this trend continues to go up. Our guys know to be patient. We're looking at it on the 4-hour trend. On the 4-hour, it's really only just getting started. ADX just getting over the 25 line. DI positive all the way. A really long period of time before it started exploding. A couple of false entries here where essentially if you had a lot of patience, you got a lot of signals from our algorithm system, and we're sort of like, you know, this area here, we're talking like one entire week where you had to be patient. If you are patient for this particular week, that's 7 days, essentially you're looking at a move that came out here as much as 60%. So a 2-week period where things started heating up, this is 2 weeks, started heating up, and eventually we got that breakout that the algorithm was detecting, explosive 60% move in just a couple of days. So wonderful move by Nass, Ontology. Speaking of Nass, another one that we picked up in the system, very similar move. Algorithm picked it up very early. Great pump out of that 200 moving average zone, going as high as 43% in 3 hours, continuing to make higher highs, higher lows. If you're watching this YouTube video, there's probably still time to make some money on these calls. Absolutely fantastic, strong uptrend going with Nass, also known as nebulous Bitcoin. Let's talk about one that we talked about in the Bitcoin updates and also in the YouTube updates of late, Lend. Now we call this multiple times. Similar to BAT, I expect a really powerful 200 moving average bounce here. Now let's just go out to the 4 hour, and you can see how impressive this was. Lots and lots of signals by the algorithms down in this zone here. Beautiful entries. Those blue blitz candles absolutely going nuts, going as high as 400% in 43 days. It was all documented inside our system. It was all documented on YouTube. It was documented by DigitalOcean and TradingView and Coinergy and our particular chat platform are right here in YouTube. So I really hope that you guys got some of this massive uptrend, absolutely spectacular move by Lend, 400% in just over 3 or 4 weeks. That is absolutely mind-blowing stuff. Now, we'll have a look at it on the 45-minute candle because I want to point out part of our methodology here. This actually, let's just clean this up. Let's have a look in the past at what has happened when it comes into this 200 moving average. We see we get signals, we see we get signals, we see we get signals. Guess what? Starting to get signals. So do I expect some sort of 45-minute 200 moving average bounce? I kind of have a feeling that we may see something like this. It really depends on Bitcoin, cyclic nature of our algorithm. Yep. I kind of imagine that we might end up going to this 200 level. I talked about it in the videos. I suggested when we were back at 60 that we might end up getting to 200. We didn't quite get there. We got to 179. Do I think we can get to 200 off a moving average bounce? Yeah, kind of feel like we might end up there. Lend absolutely doing fantastic. VAT, another one that our algorithm picked up only recently. You can see a very explosive movement here, straight across the 200 moving average. Running, it doesn't look like much, but running out of this area, we're looking at 20% in the last 13 hours. We go out to the 4 hour, have a look. So let's change that to like that one, and put that one on like that. Nope, put that one on like that, and that. There we go. So we can see there's an awful lot of activity here with our algorithms, and we're now seeing that the RSI cave, we're going DI positive. Would we get a move back up? I have a feeling that VeChain is actually going to take off soon. Let's go and have a look at Chiles, another one where the guys made an absolute fortune this week. Look at that, absolutely explosive move straight out of that area. This is a 4 hour, so let's go back into the 45-minute. We can see absolutely huge amounts of activity by the algorithm. Really good consolidation period here. About a week and a half where you had plenty of opportunity to get in, and then coming out of this zone, we're looking at as much as 150% in the last 3 weeks. We're also starting to get a bit more activity here. Lack of blue blitz candles, but I got to say, Chiles absolutely fantastic trading over the last couple of weeks. It just goes to show that with some of these calls, it doesn't really matter if Bitcoin goes up a record amount. If Bitcoin goes up 39% in a single day, that's not really going to affect some of these longer term uptrending coins, because on top of that 20 to 30% move that you just got against US dollar Tether, we have coins doing 50 and 100% literally overnight. Just going to go and have a look at the system. This is my summary of what's going on. It consists of human analyst calls that are professionally trained people that we hire as a company. It consists of calls by senior members who've been given encouragement to provide their own technical analysis and their own entries. And it also consists of long, medium, and short-term algorithms. This is a snapshot. I'm just going to refresh the page right now. You can see that the calls, which are by the human analyst, 10%, 10%, 20, 70, 11, 20, 13, 19, 13, 9, 12, 57, 21, 25. These numbers are absolutely wonderful. Great job to the analyst, 146% on Lend. We just talked about that. So those are your human analyst calls, carefully considered, low risk, massive numbers by our analysts. Brilliant job, guys and girls, actually. CAVA, these are the senior member calls, 20%, 25%, and these are our algorithm calls, some of them just as much as like 24 hours ago. Look at the numbers, 70%, 40%, 20%, 63%, a whole bunch of 10s in there. We've got 100% move here, 34, 35, 21, a whole bunch of 30s coming in around the 25, 30 mark, another 31%. As always, you can always just hit pause and actually have a look at some of these or slow things down. Absolutely huge numbers, 82% on ontology. Consider for a fact that these are algorithm generated signals, and I'm just going to keep on going down. If you're a member of Blockchain Education, you know that we're piping these to Signally in 3 commas and also internally showing them on our databases, and you can log in and see the real-time results. You can talk to analysts, you can get into these coins. I know everybody's making money right now, and I think that after a little while, this this YouTube channel will start going a little viral. We're going to start getting some traction. Hot signals, explosive moves here, 63%, lots and lots of numbers, crazy numbers. Been a really interesting week for cryptocurrency in general. Massive altcoin gains, massive Bitcoin gains. Membership's doing really well. I'm excited. We're about to announce some internal changes which are really going to increase the profitability of these algorithms and manually driven signals. I think you guys are actually going to love it. For the members, look out for my new membership update video. If you're not a member yet, what are you waiting for? 7-day refund policy, join the premium education and signals group online. There's nothing like it. I don't know how many more of these I need to do to prove to you that we actually know what we're doing. If you're tired of making 1 or 2%, why don't you join our group and sit in there for a couple of days and make 40 or 80 or 100%? It's all there, crypto. It's an exciting time for us. Record-breaking highs, record-breaking volume. You haven't missed out. Now's the perfect time to get involved. 12 months from now, we might all be sitting there with a $100,000 Bitcoin. I'm certainly looking forward to it. Thanks for your attention. Like I said, like, share, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate your time and effort. If you haven't become a member, really do yourself a favor. Become a member. Discount code below. I'll talk to you soon. My name is Jonathan Regan, also known as New Questions. blockchaineducation.com.au, coupon below. Talk to you guys.